Huh? Hey, I'm tryna win. I'm tryna win in the 716 and I'm making it big. I wanna live. I think I'm ready to.
Yo, what's good, man? It's Easy Pinchar Podcast with your one and only host, you know, Glory Boy, back here with another special guest in the building. Yes, sir. First of all, I just want to say thank you for coming. It's a pleasure having you here, most definitely. And before we even start, before you even go ahead and introduce yourself, I just want you guys to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, man. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. And then don't forget to also go on Instagram and follow ECPinChat_podcast. All right? And yeah, let's go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, bro.
Yo, it's the one and only VALED, a.k.a. the Buffalo Bully, Aaron Valid Bassett. I've grown and evolved, and I'm on Eat Sip Chat Podcast, man. We winning, man. I love this. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for coming through. I know you're a very busy man. Shout out to Kelly. I want to give her a shout out right now. So when she watches this video, because she put this together.
Yes.
She put this
Definitely.
together.
We appreciate Kelly for putting this together. She's special.
Definitely. So I just want to ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself, though. Like, where you from and where you was raised?
Okay, got you. So, you know, my first moments of consciousness, earliest memories were in the Langfield Projects.
Okay.
Deep east side of Buffalo. I had a bad hair day once upon a time. My mom was cutting my hair, you know, because like going to the barbershop wasn't a part of the monthly budget. So she gave me a haircut. It was a test of my confidence because I went to school, got ridiculed.
Right.
But I had always been really good at art. I had always, you know, been gifted with drawing and stuff like that. So I got the clippers that she had and started fixing up my own hair. That led me to doing people in my neighborhood and making money that way, you know, providing a little bit. And then I made my way to the barbershop at the age of 16. And dude, I outpaced a lot of the barbers that I worked with during that time and ended up opening up my own shop at the age of 34, which led me to the world of entrepreneurship. Now, along the way, I've gone through addiction, I've gone through incarceration, I've gone through the streets, obviously, and all of this has allowed me to summarize my story in a 200-page book, and that makes me a book author in addition to all of the other things that I've done here in our beautiful city of Buffalo, New York.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, we're gonna talk about all of that. So let's talk about just your family in general. So growing up, I know you said that your mom will cut your hair, and then when you go to school, you will face some backlash.
100%.
So like, let's talk about that. How was your mother though? Like, besides just her cutting your hair and you facing backlashes in school, how was her personality in general as your mother at that time?
Got you. Shout out to my mommy right now. She's not doing so well, which is the reason why I'm here in Buffalo, New York, you know, to care for her, make sure that she's good. So that's top priority for me. She's done all that she can to raise me and my brother on the east side. And I'm sure that she had some challenges during her life that we didn't know about. My dad and her met while she was a student in art class. He was an instructor in the art class. They split. So, you know, my first memories are of just being in her house as an only child. You know, we would come home to broken windows as a child. You know, I ate Spam. I ate Vina sausages and all of that stuff. You know, it was the struggle, food stamps, welfare, Section 8, the projects. A lot of people don't seem to really know these things about me because I carry myself and portray myself in a different light than the background that I come from. And, you know, I thank her for providing the way that she was able to, because it forced me to find my spirit, find my drive, find my ambition. Now, fundamentally, we think different. I have like a growth mindset, and respectfully, she's more conservative, you know. I'm a risk taker. You know, she doesn't like to get out much, and she's a late adopter of things. So with me growing up during the 80s as a millennial, you know, I was raised by a post-baby boomer. She wasn't quite Gen X, but, you know, just her way of growing up with her dad my grandfather, working in the GM factory, and my grandmother being a school teacher. So this is like full industrial age time that she's growing up in. She's growing up in the, with the gangs on the east side. She's growing up in, 60s, 70s, civil rights era. So all of this shapes how conservative that she is. And I don't mean conservative in the sense of like liberal conservative like politics, but just conservative like, not really thinking outside the box.
Right.
So, she was very protective of me. And I don't really like to talk about this too much, but there was a very traumatizing time where she lost custody of us. And that is when I started to bounce around from my grandmother's house to my dad's house in Atlanta. And thankfully for that, I was able to get a different perspective on life than what she was teaching me and what I was exposed to living with her. And, I don't want to get on the pod and be talking about her story in a way that's like disparaging, because I love her and always respect her. And I'm here for her now. Definitely. We can't erase the conditions that we come up in. And I'm thankful for it.
And those conditions make us who we become, like at the end of the day. And also like at that time, were you still going to school? Because I know.
No, I was skipping school, bro.
Skipping school.
Yeah. She had a hard time controlling me. When I got around like 8, 9, 10 years old, when we grow up, we got our family values.
Right.
And that's relative, to whatever family you come from. And every family has issues. But then you got the social value. So with me going to school, not having the right clothes, going to school, not having the right haircut, immediately I'm outcasted. So you find that kids, when they get ridiculed and they get criticized in school, it affects their learning ability. They're unable to focus on the schoolwork and the education because they're worried about like their social status. Right. So for me, going to get to a few dollars so that I could buy my own clothes was a huge priority. And by the time I had a level of status as a barber on the porch in the basement, she didn't want me to go to the barbershop. She felt like I was doing all right just on the porch. So I would leave school. I'm bouncing around now. I'm in high school. Dude, I would go straight to the barbershop. You know what I mean? Like I leave school, go straight to the barbershop. Kids going to football practice, after school programs, things like that, I'm straight to the barbershop. So I spent a lot of my time learning my social values that kind of shaped me as an adult in the barbershop.
Wow. So the barbershop was basically your scapegoat. Like a lot of people have that one place that if they're dealing with certain things, either within their family, in school, or just anywhere else, they will go to that one place they feel more comfortable at. So the barbershop was the one place that made you feel like at home in most cases.
Well, yeah, 100%. I could smoke, I could make some money. Right. Smoke a little weed with the adults. I thought they were pretty cool for the things that they were into at the time. And, I'm not going to sit here and say that they shaped me into the greatest man. But for the environment that I was in, it definitely helped me navigate.
Right. Did you finish high school, though?
Yeah, I got my diploma. I walked across the stage, made my folks proud, for sure.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing that a lot of people tend to not do if they're skipping school and so on. Because I had a conversation with we actually mentioned her. What was her name again?
Kelly? Oh, Rakaya.
Rakaya, yeah, like Rakaya, yeah. And we kind of had a conversation where she said like when a kid is either skipping school at the early age, or either they can't read at an early age, they have a higher chance of not walking across that stage. But being able to do that, that's a huge accomplishment. So then with education itself, did you decide to go to college, or you just focus on doing your barbershop, cutting hair, and just being an entrepreneur yourself? Okay,
so you're asking me some really good questions, and I want to make sure I say things in the proper context and put them in some type of chronological order for the listeners, right? So at the time that I was applying to college, I had already caught my first felony. So that was like me just kind of just doing it to make the judge proud or whatever like that. I mean, we can go into how I caught the felony, but you mentioned something about literacy that I want to touch on. So that's a huge part of like why I'm sitting here and able to communicate with you the way that I am. That's a huge part of like how I was able to grow our business, become a leader, is because of literacy, is because of reading. And I thank my dad for that. When I lived with him, one of his things that he forced me to do was take an hour, and I hated it at the time. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? Right. Take an hour and read by myself. It seemed like he didn't make my brothers do this. I got two brothers that went to private school down there in Atlanta, and I went to public school. But he would make me read. And some of the things that he would make me read was like a lot of like the literature about like Black empowerment, stuff like that. You know, like the type of books that Dr. Claude Anderson would write. You know, he made me read stuff like that. So like when you listen to my raps and I got like socially conscious stuff in it, it comes from that type of background, him instilling those values in me through literacy. As an adult, you know, I took on the task of learning leadership, business, investment, and all of these other things from books. And you know, I credit him for inspiring me to read, you know.
That's and let's talk about that felony though, because you know,
let's get into it.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to skip that. You know, I feel like that's a really life lesson, because look at the man that you became. There's a lot of kids nowadays who are actually catching cases, you know, for doing dumb stuff, for following the wrong crowd. So like, tell us about that felony that you caught, and how did you manage to change and become something different?
You know, I used to hate to talk about this. I used to like be ashamed of the fact that I sat in jail. I used to be ashamed of the fact that I come from an environment where you got to put your lion mane on. You know, you got to be a jungle lion. You can't be a zoo lion where I come from. Right. So with me being in the barbershop, you know, I'm in there cutting, I'm selling my little weed. Again, social values. I got me a used car. Nothing crazy. It's a used car, but it's mine. I'm taking pride in it. Got my rims on it. I got my beats in it. You know, I'm riding around doing what I do in it. At the time, I had a flat tire. So I go outside the barbershop. I put the air compressor on the tire. I go to try to pump it up. It's pumped up. There's 3 people standing outside the barbershop at the time. One of the 3 people that are standing outside the barbershop hops in my car. He pulls off. I try to hang on to the door, try to get in. He pulls off. You know what I'm saying? One of the customers of the barbershop pulls up after the guy pulls off. It's like, yo, let's chase him down. I get in the car. We chase him. We've been in blocks. We go down Bailey. We try to go down Doe. We lose him. We come back to the barbershop. I'm unarmed, but I see the 2 guys that are standing outside the barbershop still standing there that was with the guy that hopped in my car. So I go to approach them. They start running. Boom. So now, you know, I'm fat, chunky V. You know, I was a chunky kid, so I'm running. Running. They run in the house. So I'm banging on the door. I'm ringing the doorbell. They're not coming downstairs. They're not answering the door, nothing like that. So the guy pulls up, my co-defendant. He's like, what you want to do? And for some odd reason, I was like, take me to the gas station. He takes me to the gas station. I go in the gas station. I buy a gas can. I put gas in the gas can. We come back to the house. I go up to the house. I break all the windows and start pouring the gas on the curtains, and then I set the house on fire. And don't you know these guys in the house that, and you know I want to be respectful because this was over 20 years ago. So you know this is the story. They pointed me out, and I ended up doing 36 years of my life. I fought that case for a year. I caught the case in 2002. I went in 2003, June. So I caught the case on my dad's birthday on April 29th, 2002. I went in to serve my time on June 4th, 2003. Between that time, I had to get a job, which was a first. I was going to college, which was not even in the cards for me. And then I also became a champion on the radio. So let's never forget the fact that I'm a contributor to the hip hop scene here. Under a different name, I was a 11-week champion on WBLK Battle Dome. I got cassettes, tapes. I got receipts to prove all of this stuff. And after the momentum of the battles, the 11-week challenge, I'm like, well, I got to keep my buzz going, so I put out an album. And my dad made the cover for the album. I made some beats. Thugsman made some beats. Recorded with DJ Shay, rest in peace, a record on that album in 2002-3 when he was on the West Side. And dude, I felt the need to, I knew I was going to sit down for a minute, and at the age of 19, I'm not really looking too far past that. So I'm like, man, I got to, keep my name alive. So that was one of the reasons why I put the album out. Dude, I could go down a rabbit hole of things that transpired after I put that album out. Man, like we could have had a deal on the table. Wow. I met a guy named Chaz at the barbershop. The barbershop and music is going to be a common theme throughout my story. So I met a guy named Chaz who was interested in investing in us. So it was me, Zip, my man Strange, Eulogy, and we got all of this talent. We got Thugsman making beats and stuff like that. We got this guy Chaz willing to invest in us. So he's already taken us to, there was a computer store over here on Delaware. He's taking us to the computer store, buying all of this equipment for us to record over here on Hurdle in Niagara at the time. And we making music, but then during the course of it all, I'm like, yo, I got to go in and do a bid. I got to go do 3 years. And I'm like the nucleus of all of this stuff. So he comes to court, he speaks on my behalf and stuff like that. They still lock me up. There was supposed to be a deal allegedly on the table with Columbia. That went down. And ever since then, I had never really come close to like record label stardom, anything like that, but definitely did my thing with building a buzz here in the city of Buffalo. But those were some crazy, crazy times. I don't really talk too publicly about a lot of that stuff. Like, I could tell people the story about how I caught the case. I can tell people the story about how, I did my release party, did my battles on the radio, and did everything like that. But, there's an underlying subplot to all of this with me just kind of like leaving the barbershop to pursue this stuff and finding means to do it. Because when we look at anything that we do with podcasts, barbershop, right, music, the money got to come from somewhere. So we got the Rockefeller startup money going. And that, what we were doing at the time, is probably the reason why it didn't work out, because of the affairs that we were into.
The affair he was into. And that shows that self-control is the most important thing to have as a human being. Because that one decision, the one thing that you did, like kind of like made you lose some opportunities, like you said, the record label and so on. So let's talk about self-control itself. Like, how would you define self-control in your own way because of the situation that you've actually been through?
I got you. So self-control in my mind is like being able to be disciplined. People are motivated by 4 different things. So they're motivated by mastery. They're motivated by movement, being able to have some type of freedom with where you go and what you do. Then they're motivated by mating, who you're going to be with. That's the most important decision that you can make, whoever you decide to spend the rest of your life with or procreate with. And then you got material, money, jewels, cars, clothes, things like that. So for me, mastery is at the top of that. And a master of oneself, because I can't, people see me waking up in the morning, 4 a.m. with my gym grind and stuff like that. That's me being a master of oneself. I'm Muslim, so 5 prayers a day. I ain't gonna say, I make them all on time, but I do what I gotta do. Right. But that's a level of self-discipline and mastery. And if we're unable to master ourselves, if we're unable to study the product, which is us, then I don't believe anybody will go too far in life.
Because that's the most important thing. And so now let's jump into when everything started clearing up for you. You started focusing more on improving your businesses. So let's talk about the business itself. So when it came to barbershop, how did you lay out the blueprint for how you started that barbershop for yourself?
I had already been in 5 barbershops before I decided to open my own shop. In 2012, I turned 30 years old, and I was at Solo's barbershop. Shout out to my boy Tone. He definitely gave me a platform for me to grow my barber career. And instead of jumping off the cliff to do it by myself, I did it with a partner. And that didn't really go too well. We were like 2-3 years in, the writing was on the wall, and he found other means of income. I found other means of income. I went to him and told him that I was going to make the leap and do my thing by myself. maybe like 2 months later, that shop got raided by the feds. So then I ended up leaving that shop earlier than I expected to, with less capital than I needed to really get it going. So at the time, I started it cutting people's hair on a stepping stool. I had really blew my budget on getting the floor done, getting the ceiling fans done, putting some paint on the walls. I hadn't even gotten my barber chairs yet or my mirrors. Okay. So, I started the barbershop on a shoestring budget, bootstrapped it. This is me doing this without like having like the proper knowledge of really how to open up a business. I didn't have a clear business model. All I knew is that I were in shops ran this way. So this is the way I'm going to run my shop, or some variation of that. I'm going to innovate, do it better than they did it. We opened up on Hurdle, 1154 Hurdle. And at the time I was like dealing with like heavy substance abuse, heavy alcoholism. And I realized that I can't really be a leader. Like, I'm not just another barber in the shop anymore. I'm a leader. These people rely on me so that they can eat. In a perfect world, I would love for, everybody working for me to have 100K years after taxes and liabilities annually, really just caking it and winning. But at the end of the day, it's really about their work ethic, their skill set, and their ability to have some self-mastery and be disciplined. So that's what led me to like understanding that I have to be a leader, really like becoming sober, becoming somebody that can lead by example. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these people, to go kind of back to what you said, a lot of these people, and I hope this is a teachable moment for people. A lot of things in life are caught more than they are taught. So I could tell you, Glory, you got to do your pod like this. You got to boom, 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 boom. Do this, do this, do this. But if you're watching my lifestyle and I'm doing something that's contrary to what I'm telling you, you're going to probably do what you see, right?
Exactly.
So, that's why I decided to change my life and go a different route. Wow. I feel like I'm just like going crazy with the talking, man.
I'm enjoying this, and plus, like I told you before we even started this, I was like, basically, this is gonna be very inspirational to so many people, and I want us to have a conversation where we're very straightforward, very authentic, so people can get to know you, and also they can get to know exactly your life story, because now look where you are, and we're gonna talk about the book itself. And now with the barbershop, let's talk about our community. So did you feel like when you were growing your barbershop, you was getting enough support from the people within our community?
Oh yeah, 100%. I gotta be all the way real. I was definitely getting support from the community. However, one thing that the community, all right, so I'm speaking the community, yes. But when I'm speaking about like the support, it really was from my clients. Excuse me. I have really built a following, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like, definitely a top barber in the town.
That's amazing.
Still a top barber today, but definitely them. But it was like I had to put on my Superman cape in order to keep it going. At first, all the revenue came through me before I decided to hire people. And there were some people within my client book of business that didn't really understand the evolution to becoming an owner. They didn't understand, and it's not for them to understand that, I have to build up the careers of other people. So if we're looking at the time pie, I have to spend some time working on the shop. Right. So I got, time working in the shop, time working on the shop. And during the course of my life, a common theme of why certain family relationships and friend relationships are where they are for me is because I've prioritized getting to the bag. I come from survival mode. So, that's always top priority to me over watching a football game, over going to the club, and especially now in sobriety more than it was back then. So I definitely had the support of the community, but there is no but. They supported me.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also, since you mentioned just the survival mode itself, it basically started from the day you from the time you used to go in school, like you said, basically with a haircut that your mom had given you, with just whatever clothes that you had on, and you just felt like, you know what, I want to be better. I want to do something that's going to make me become something different in life, that's going to show people that you can actually start from the bottom and raise yourself all the way up, and so on. And then from there, let's now look into your book right now. So tell us a little bit more about your book, because I know you highlighted a lot of your stories, and also the Barbershop Blueprint. You basically highlighted how to build your own barbershop. I believe that will be some of the things that you're teaching people throughout your book. But tell us more, though, like about your book, if you was to summarize it for someone that's willing to read it.
Got it. So it's actually a business book through the lens of it. This book, after reading it and on for Audible, I realized that it's more of a self-employed mastery book than an actual business book. There are some sections of it where I talk about building the business, but I think what people will get most from it is just my journey through self-employment and going from that into business ownership. I've learned so much about business since I've published the book that, I'm definitely due for another one whenever I have time to write it. This is like a book that I get a lot more people outside of my industry are getting value from the book than people in my industry. Respectfully, you've been in barbershops, right?
Yes,
you
sir.
got a fresh shape up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, there's a level of unprofessionalism that's attached to my industry. And I think the low customer expectation is because of there's a low barrier to get in. A lot of barbers are journeymen. A lot of barbers are part-time. A lot of barbers are not on time. And because of that, people have devalued the barbershop experience. You got a lot of people going into suites now and things like that. Basements, garages, suites. These guys are cutting out the closet now. They out, in the closet, out the closet, all of that now, right? I would like to bring back the community feel of barbershops where it's a family-friendly space. I would like to build the barbershop as a platform where people can grow with some type of career opportunity. I would like to build the barbershop as a platform where people can learn financial literacy, because that's a huge part of this book that I forgot to cover. Okay. Future planning, because we ain't got no health insurance. We ain't got no 401k. We don't got none of that, Right. So if a barber is like starting their day and going on Facebook and Instagram before they check Robinhood, or they check their Coinbase wallet, or they get their deposit, or they get their cash and they're not putting away something for a rainy day, then something is wrong. Glory, I literally got here, and I'm dealing with mom's health issues. I'm dealing with barbershop issues, which we'll probably get into at some point. And then my car breaks down. If I didn't have financial literacy, I wouldn't be able to weather the storm.
Right.
If I didn't have financial literacy, I wouldn't be able to go on a journey of selling a book, because a lot of owners, a lot of barbers are tethered to their business. You can't take them out and the shop still operates. Fade and Full have been operating for a full 13, 14 months with other leaders, not me. So that just speaks to the level of professionalism. That speaks to the level of our business model that a lot of barbershops, respectfully, that I know of, single operated barbershops don't have.
Wow. Yeah, that's, I like how you kind of mentioned that the barbershop today, you don't really see that value. People don't really see that value of it, because I had this conversation actually. I don't know if you watched this episode, because you say you checked out some of the videos. I had a conversation with Drip Sanchez. He's also a barber in Buffalo.
I saw Drip.
So he did mention actually that when he's in the barbershop and he's cutting people hair, that's like one of the greatest thing to do, because then as a barber you become a therapist. That's therapy to you, that's therapy to them, and that's a place where someone can just come, sit down, have a conversation, be happy, and just build that community, the community base, you know. And I feel like it's very important. So with your book, just I feel like it's gonna inspire a lot of barbers. It's a lot of young people that's actually getting into into cutting hair. And there's a lot of people that's starting to cut hair in their basements, in their closets, and that's where they're starting from. And because, like you said, sometimes for them they see as like being hard to get into those shops, rather than taking the opportunity to look into it and actually taking that leap of faith and going to that barber and say, "Hey, man, like I have this talent. I would like to be able to work here with you. Would that be possible?" You know, so I feel like a lot of people need to do that, need to be out there, socializing and connect, you know, most definitely.
It's a contact sport, bro. You know, with
Right.
me relocating to Austin, Texas, I'm going out there with limited network of contacts. So in order for me to build up my clientele, I'm doing 3 to 5 meetups every week. I'm going to real estate meetup, marketing meetup. AI. Dude, I'm not a coder, I'm not in AI, but I'm in there. These are the people I need to be cutting. So with me doing this, not only is it helping me build my following, build my network, but also opening me up to other opportunities.
Right.
One thing about barbers, so I'll I'll actually add to what Drip was talking about. Yes, we're therapists, we're some sort of medical professional, but we're also a connector of people. If someone needs a mechanic, you know, your barber should know, you know, who to go to. Someone needs, like, we were the first Google.
That's a really good way to put it. Because barbers be knowing so much. Like barbers are like the business cards of like different businesses. You know, like you already said, y'all were the first Google. But yeah, go on.
Nah, but yeah, that's the sound effect when people say some profile.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, dude, that's the.
Yeah, right there. You just hammer.
I gotta
on
step my bars up, man. I need that joint.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, though, that's man, go ahead. I mean, I want to.
Yeah. No. Barbers, the first Google. Like, actually, I've been in that case where, like, when it came to like asking barbers for different connects in terms of like you said, mechanics, in terms of like, hey, what's the best spot to go eat? Because barbers basically, you guys eat from like almost every restaurant, or choose like one restaurant to support, and you guys will get food from there. It will be one of the best restaurants in the city. So I will ask them like, yo, where can I find this? And they'll be like, yo, it's right here. Where can I find this? It's right here. I'm like, man, like that's an important thing to have. Like those are important people to have within the community, that you can just sit with them, have a conversation, and they will actually be so open to giving you different outlets on whatever that you're looking for, you know. So now let's talk about just our community in general. I mean, you see how now we're in time of the election, and there's things going on within our communities. How would you, based on, I mean, looking back to when you were growing up and then today, how would you describe our communities, and also, do you think anything have evolved yet within our community?
Okay, so in some ways things have evolved. We got Obama administration. We had some symbolism. People felt like, you know, the black community was doing better. Then you got the Trump administration, where people feel like he's a racist, and I guess that gives us a sense of urgency. During the Trump administration, we experienced the longest bull market of all time. So that actually was the best time to be an investor. I'm a product of the Reagan administration, the Bush administration, and the Clinton administration. So I was a child during that time. So with me growing up, Section 8, Project Kid, food stamps, the canned meats and things like that, I was always told to vote Democrat. At the end of the day, the Democrats have pandered to the black community, and in some ways so look at this as a track that has 2 rails on it. On one end, you got, for me, poverty, you know, the drugs and all of that, boom, boom, boom. And then on the other end, the community, I'm looking up to people. The only male figures that I got besides my father, who's in Atlanta, miles away, the drug dealers and people like that I'm looking up to. I became a real fan of different figures in hip hop because of the people that were in my community and things like that. Politics is a slippery slope where people can look at what's happening in society and feel like they have no choice.
Right.
I think there's a false sense of options when we're looking at political views. Usually people just take what is sensationalized on one of 2 or 3 platforms you got one platform that promotes the left, one platform that promotes the right. People feel like, all right, my grandmother said I should vote Democrat, I'm gonna vote Democrat. The Republicans are the rich people. When really we need to look at what are our 5 most urgent concerns when it comes to this election. Who is addressing those concerns? I'm gonna vote for that person. Doesn't matter what team they're on. That's 1. 2 is we control our own destiny, not a politician. So that brings it back to the self-mastery. What are the conspiracies that we can control? We can control what we're watching on our TV. We can control the food that's in our cabinet. We don't have to eat the processed foods. We don't have to do that. All right, processed foods cost too much. All right, great. I'm in survival mode. I need to develop a skill so that I can earn income so that I can eat healthy. Or maybe I need to cut the fat off my spending, stop purchasing the things that I really don't need so that I can purchase the food that I need so that I can produce income. I can use that income, send some of those dollars out to make more dollars. Now I'm rising up the ranks. When we look at other communities and other cultures in the United States that are thriving and doing well, you don't see them complaining about, like Asians, for instance. You don't see them complaining about who's president at all. They still got their supply stores. They still got their buffets. They still got their other businesses, their own section of town where they support one another. Economically, they're strong. Their dollar flows throughout their community and, kind of just stays there. Right. You got the whoish people that also practice similar economic discipline. When it comes to us as the Black community, we might get our dollars from a corporation. When we get that money from the corporation, we go with the indiscretionary spending and just give it right back to the corporation. How many of us really, realistically, have the resources to really make change in our community? I would say there's a few. But even with the money, you need the mindset first. I think if we need to change our community, it takes for us to change the mindset. And with the mindset, we'll get the skill set. And with the skill set, we can build a tool set. And with all of those, we can build an asset.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I had this conversation, man, every conversation I get to have with a lot of different people, they kind of connect in terms of empowering and improving our communities. And I like how you mentioned that when we get the money, most of the time we go ahead and spend it back and give it back to those corporations that's giving us the money. So in terms of literacy, in what ways, for those people that lack literacy, financial literacy, in what ways would they be able to improve in terms of financially and spending their money wisely?
All right, so this great. That's a great question. I would recommend 5 books. I'm going to go with 5 books. I would recommend Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. No. I want to do this in some type of chronological order. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so you can understand the difference between assets and liabilities. Got me? Then I will go to the cash flow quadrant so that you know what type of okay, so you got so you know about the cash flow quadrant.
Yes,
great.
Yes, sir.
So now you know where you stand on the graph or whatever, right?
Right.
Then I will go to the Money Master of the Game. I will go to the Rule of 72. Yeah, you might want to write that down, the Rule of 72. And then I'm going with honorable mention, The Richest Man in Babylon. And then I'm going to go with The Psychology of Money, man. I could probably go on and on with book recommendations.
But you know, one thing I want to say, though, it's not, a lot of people don't like reading in our community, you know?
That's all good. They got Earn Your Leisure. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You got, I'm a big fan of Bigger Pockets podcast. You know, listen to that from time to time. Or you could actually listen to the person in the barbershop that's talking about all this stuff and stop calling it financial jargon. I would talk about this stuff.
So there's people that call it financial jargon.
Bro, I would talk about finance stuff in the barbershop and people would rather watch Drink Champs, and it is what it is.
Right, because those are the things that entertains them.
And I'm not, I'm not mad at that, but like, how we spend our time is crucial, man. Time is like one of the greatest resources that we got, man. Like we got time, energy, attention, and money, bro. How we spend our time, man, like it compounds over time. Like I'm around people now where it's like, there's an abundance of opportunity and abundance of knowledge. Like all of that stuff that I'm talking about with like empowerment and discipline, it becomes contagious, man. So like if you're in a place where you know that the people around you are counterproductive and they're not for you, you need to make a list of the top 5 people that you know who are doing well, who are doing things that you aspire to do, who are going places that you want to go. You need to start spending more time with those people. You need to pick up the phone and call those people, text those people, check on them. How you doing? I had to do that at one time. Wow. If I was around, respectfully, I was a drug dealer, so that's who I was around. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, I was like, man, like, I remember like my man Omega Red, Robert Grant. I'm like, oh man, he always was, he's with the culture, but I know he was like an ill dude. I know I could like, he know more than what he's letting on. You know what I'm saying? Najee is another one, man. I forgot Najee's last name. Stu is another one, man. Oh, my boy D's. He's another one. It's just certain people. Rome. How could I forget Rome, man? We never gonna forget Rome. Rome. That's my guy.
Shout out to Rome.
That's my guy for real. But it's like, like you got to make that list. Like one of my top people in my life, David Kirkpatrick, my reading coach, who has introduced me to this beautiful city of Austin. He asked me a question. He said, "Who are the top 5 people that you know?" And, I made a list. And he was like, "Do they know your goals?" And I'm like, I think they might. Do you know their goals? And I'm like, all right, I know their goals. And he was like, do they know each other? Now, think, if we got the top 5 people and we all know each other's goals, then it's like that Hove quote, we're nobody gonna fall with each other's crutches. I know that you're doing $1 million a month recurring. You know what I'm saying? I know that you want to take it to whatever, 30 million a year. It might be capped there. Can't even get past it. You know what I'm saying? But boom, we got somebody in our crew that knows about scaling business. We know somebody in our crew that does operations. We know somebody that hires C-suite executives. Like there will be so many resources within the crew because we got a top 5 of people that are actually got the same mindset, the same skill set, and the same tool set.
Yeah. Oh, those are the people that you need around. Like the people that you keep around you makes who you become. Like the circle. If you hang around people, I always keep this in mind. This quote that I heard, similar to what you just said. If you hang around someone that knows how to make $100,000 a year every day, you someday will be you'll be making $100,000 a year as well. If you hang around someone that's just doing completely nothing, just drinking, smoking, partying almost every single day of the week, you're going to be doing the same exact thing. And I've actually witnessed with my own eyes people that used to hang around people like that actually make an adjustment and hanging around people that's doing positive, and I will see a major change throughout their daily habits, throughout their lives. And I'm like, man, that's That's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I wanted to ask you this because I watched one of your video. You actually did travel to Africa, to Morocco. Let's talk about that experience.
You be doing research,
let's talk about that experience because it's a lot of people here that really haven't really explored. They haven't traveled out of the country or anything. And I watched this one video that said that African Americans, basically, this girl said, we're one of the people in the world that only speak one language, and speaking one language, and you see other people speaking other languages, and you see other people doing other things. It's like you get jealous of it, you want to be part of it. But then speaking that one language also makes you become even ignorant because it gives you that pushback of not wanting to learn about what others are doing. But you actually taking the opportunity to go to a different country, especially in the motherland. Let's talk about it. How was that experience, and what would you tell to the people that haven't really been out of the country or just been anywhere in general?
Leaving the United States has really broadened my perspective on life and how we got it here in America. I talked a little bit about the poverty that I grew up in. Going to different countries really puts that in some type of perspective, that we don't have it as bad as we think. You go to the trenches of America, you'll see obese people. That's not the case in other countries. So to speak specifically about Africa, I went over there for Workaway. And what Workaway does, you go over there and perform a task for people and they take care of your room and board. Shout out to my ex-girlfriend, Kelly, who actually introduced me to that platform. We went over there to teach English at the British Language Academy. I stopped in Marrakesh first, spent a little bit of time just sightseeing, stuff like that. And that was very enlightening. I got a haircut in there. So you got on my Instagram, you see me getting my haircut.
Yeah, I saw that old man using a razor.
Yeah, I went to 5 different cities in Morocco: Marrakesh, Chefchaouen, Tangier, Bereshit, and what is the 5th one? I'm forgetting one. Forgive me. But, all of those different cities had a lot for me to learn, man. Chefchaouen was a place where I just really locked in and wrote a good portion of this out in Morocco. Dude, to come from the bottom, man, and to say that I actually went to Africa and taught in a school, is a very remarkable thing to, just being able to say that here on this podcast with you, man. Like, I'm just like really having like an outer body moment, man. Not a lot of people are able to say that. And I know some people that are like, man, just, locked up forever and, not with us anymore and stuff like that. And I'm still here to experience these things. So it's a big blessing. And I hope that, when people watch this and listen to it, that it's a inspiring and teachable moment, man, because we all deserve, especially us Black people, we all deserve to go to where our heritage come from, or all humanity's heritage comes from. I'm probably generations removed from the motherland. I've never done ancestry. I've never looked into my past great grandmother. We know that for foundational Black Americans, we look back, that joint gonna look kind of dicey. You know what I'm saying? My last name, who knows where it came from? I don't know what tribe I come from. And to bring it back to answer your question, because I'm all over the place. These people speak 5 different languages, bruh. They speak Arabic, Berber, French, Spanish, and I said Arabic, Berber, French, Spanish, and English. Most people speak 5 different languages. And when I'm in the classroom talking to them about the things that they value the most, the common answer is family. When you ask people about what they value most here in the United States, you'll get a variance of different answers. And, depending on who you ask, I don't know what you're going to hear, but family is like a huge thing over there in Morocco and in the other countries that I've been to. I got 8 stamps on my passport, bruh, so I've been around.
Oh, you was all over the place.
Yeah, dude, I just came back from Cabo, man, just now. Like, this was the first stamp that I got, like, just me traveling by myself.
Wow.
So like, yeah, it was a proud moment, man, to go over there. And then the people that I met over there were so amazing, man. Shout out to Jeff, the entrepreneur. Shout out to Omri, and I just posted a video with Andy Elliott on my timeline too. That was in Cabo. So yeah, I'm definitely, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I've been humble for a long time, but man, I'm definitely shaking and moving with the real steppers out here that's doing big business, man.
Right, definitely, bro. That's it, man. That's how you gotta look at it. And also, if you like you said, your mind is set to be around those people that's doing good for themselves.
Yes.
You know, so if you see someone that's doing good for themselves as a business owner yourself, it drives you. You know, it keeps pushing you to your fullest potential at the end of the day. So, and also just being in Africa, because I wanted to talk about today's youth as well.
Let's do it.
Because growing up, your youth years wasn't bright. It wasn't amazing to say, because you got in some troubles. Yeah. So like I was saying, I'm sorry for the technical difficulty, but like I was saying, I was talking about like just the youth in general. You know, like if we when you went to Africa, because I wanted to ask you this, because you came across students. You know, you was teaching people. And you probably came across a lot of young kids. So seeing them, how they acted, and seeing how the youth here are acting today, especially in our communities, what would you say in your own perspective?
Okay, so since they come from such humble background and they come from strong family values, they really want to come to the United States because they know that it's opportunity here. It's capitalism. People come here for the American dream. They have so much energy, they have so much ambition, and they have so much discipline and focus, majority, that come over here. Talking to them and spending time with them not only shows me how bright the youth is elsewhere, but also it shows me how good we have it in America, and we don't always realize it. You know, when something is super close to your face, if you put your hand up to your face, like, it becomes blurry, right? So if you're in the environment and you got some type of social conditioning from the media, the flies on the face, the 50 cent a day commercials and stuff like that, the slave movies, you'll think that we don't have the best. Like, we're working on it. We're a work in progress, but we got it better than most of the world. And for them to be happy with what they have and to want to come over here and acquire more through hard work and dedication, I admire that.
Yeah, man. So me personally, because you mentioned that, so when I first came here, I came to America in 2010. I came to America. I barely spoke English. I just knew the basics. I knew the basics. And man, like, when I tell you I was so excited, I'm like, man, when I come here, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be a millionaire one day.
Right.
I'm gonna have this type of house. So when we first was about to come here, also me and my sister, my brothers, and so on, I will sit down and say, this is gonna be my house. This is gonna be my house. This is gonna be my room. And we got here, and a lot of the kids that we came across, they never really saw Africa as how we saw it. I mean, Africa, there's beautiful places. There's a lot of amazing things you can do there. Right. It's just that, like you said, we come here for opportunity, the American dream. It's a lot of things here that's given to so many people that some people are taking it for granted, and people in my country will come here and just die for it.
What country?
I'm from Congo.
Okay, so that's Central Africa.
Central Africa, yes. I'm from Congo. Yeah, so I was born in Congo and I was raised in Rwanda. So from there, came here. So when I got here, I'm like, man, look at all these things. And then when I would be in school, I'll see the way kids acted based on the way that, compared to the way that kids acted in my country, because in my country, a kid acts a certain way in school, they get a little spanked. You know, they get spanked. The teacher is basically your parent. And I'm like, man, so now looking forward now, it's like I thought things would change because now that technology have actually been showing people how different parts of the world are, it could actually open up a lot of people's eyes. But it's more like it's not changing, but actually how I'm looking at it is like a lot of our youth are actually following a wrong direction because, like you said, of the things that they're being fed to, like the social media.
Yes.
Some music artists, like the music they're putting out, you know, and so on. But if we take a look at all those things, though, let's try to exclude them. In what ways do you think the adults around those youth would like be able to help them improve and see light in the future?
Okay, so dude, you said a lot. The United States is lacking in the family value area. We come from broken households, and I'm speaking specifically for the community that I come from.
Right.
But it's spreading over. I would say I can't even just really leave that to the black community. Let's just go like low income, lower middle class. Most of these people are growing up single parent households, albeit if it's divorce or whatever the case may be, co-parenting. So these are latchkey children that are being socially conditioned. When I said that they have family values, they're having dinner together every day. You got 2-parent household.
I got 2-parent household.
Right? So it's not just debt slavery where, you know, mom or dad is just working 2-3 jobs and the child is just making their own SpaghettiOs and just scrolling TikTok and YouTube and not doing homework. You know, that's like a common theme here in the United States. Now, there are some people that are doing the due diligence to raise their children, but maybe they weren't raised in the right way. So we definitely need to bring back the family structure in the correct way, and it's being challenged. So I say this: I only want to come on this podcast and talk about things that I'm qualified to discuss. I don't have kids. I'm not married, and my reason for that is because I got to be able to fulfill the three P's: being able to provide for my family, being able to protect my family, and being able to be present for my family. I can't be present for my family if I'm constantly in survival mode. And I think a lot of people are just fighting their way out of survival mode, hadn't really gotten to the status. Dude, this is like a conversation that has many different layers. The youth, I love when I see people your age that are doing like amazing things, like you, Kelly, Lex, my homegirl Lex, who's going to UB. Harrison, who's got a boat detailing business. My guy Lucas, Lucas has a web building agency. And dude, the list goes on of people that I know that are around your age that are doing great things. However, you know, I had to go outside of like my normal course of action to like really find, you know, you people are outliers. All right. You know, the majority, you know, are they willing to make the personal sacrifice to either start something or choose a process, list the steps of the process, refine the process, test the process, and adapt no matter what the challenges are, and refine the process if needed. If they don't have those tools and that framework to survive in the United States or, you know, whatever country they live in, then they're going to fall to the level of their daily habits. And most people's daily habits are things that aren't really leading them in the right direction.
Right. And we see it every day. Some people will go to a party, to parties like the whole week straight. You know, like, is that even going to lead you in the right direction? I understand you got to have fun. Yes. Right. But like, you also have to see the priorities. You have to see what you really want in life. And I hate the fact that there are people that do that on a daily basis and then end up not achieving anything that week or that month or that year, and then they will feel bad about someone that's actually doing good for themselves, you know. And I feel like that's one thing that I can say that's wrong within our community. There's people that will watch you wake up every single day working on yourself, but they're doing the opposite, and then as soon as you reach a certain level in life, then they feel some type of way, like it's your fault, like you're the reason why they're still behind. But now let's now look into more of the relationships. There's a lot of things. I mean, I know, like you said, you're not married, you don't have kids or anything, but in terms of like relationship, because you've already mentioned how much it's important to see, okay, find 5 people that what their ambition, their goals in life, and so on. So let's in your own personal definition. So define relationships, and what does relationship mean to you?
When I go to these conferences and I listen to these successful people speak, a lot of them credit their mate, their wife, their husband for the success that they have. And mate selection is like one of the greatest decisions that you can make. I realize that. And I'm looking for someone who can be cooperative. I'm looking for someone who's active, and I'm looking for someone who has similar interests and a certain mindset. I've been in several relationships where the cooperative, we weren't able to combine the lives. Because me, starting off self-employed and being an entrepreneur, my time is a little different than someone who's clocking in, clocking out. And if I'm stressed and I need something in order to progress in my business or my career or whatever, because I'm on my own, I may need someone to vent to. And I've been in situations where, I'm talking to somebody who, my girl or, my, whoever I'm sleeping with at the time, who doesn't really quite understand the issues that I have. So then I've taken the path of, I'm not really going to talk about what I'm going through. And then that creates tension within the relationship because they feel like I'm keeping secrets. So to find someone who like truly understands my lifestyle and my goals, that is probably the most important thing to me going forward. I've been in some situations where, like when I was 20s and stuff like that, I was just trying to hit whatever was moving, to be honest with you. Like I didn't really care about her values or her background and stuff like that.
Right, and you outgrew that,
Yeah, I definitely outgrew that, and I'm in a place where like what I'm looking for, that's a very small slice of the pie. There's not a lot of depth there. I'm a 40-year-old man. Well, I'm in my 40s now. I'm fit. Dude, on the marketplace, I know that I'm in a good place. But because like I'm at this age with no kids, I'm looking for someone who is in prime time procreating years. So like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, I can date a woman half my age plus 7. So within that, half my age plus 7 would be about 28. So, 28-year-old that's like on what I'm on, I'm not going to say that they're difficult to find because they're definitely out there. But with me processing the issues and the things that I got going on in my life, I'm not necessarily looking they'll have to find me.
Right. No, understandable, brother. But yeah, and also the next thing I wanted to ask you, because you actually mentioned there was more of just investing your money in Robinhood and so on. So when it comes to financial literacy, I know I've watched some of your videos where you're giving people tips on, okay, this is how you can manage your money. You've done that in the barbershop, and you mentioned that. So so if someone wanted to invest their money in stocks or invest their money in real estate or anything, in what tactics would they have to take in order to do that successfully? Because I know it's not an easy thing to do.
Okay, so first step is cutting the fat, minimizing the spending, taking a look at the bank statement, looking at the leaks, where's the money going that it don't need to go. If you got like a bunch of like streaming subscriptions and, a bunch of other like, frivolous things that you're spending your money on that you don't need to do, that's the first place I would do, because you cut the fat. Now you got something to work with. You got some tools and fuse. The rule of 72 says that the money can flip a certain amount of times over a course of time. And you got to put it in an asset class. Choose an asset class. For me, it started with comic books. I was a huge collector of comic books. They appreciate over time. We talked about luxury watches, which appreciate as well. You got collectibles, you got real estate, you got stocks, you got a business, and then you have 5 asset classes. I'm forgetting one, forgive me. But you invest. I like the dollar cost average. So when it comes to the stock market, if I'm not really paying attention to IPOs, if I'm not really emotionally attached to a company or a CEO or a business model, then I can do Berkshire Hathaway, the B stocks, or I'll do the S&P 500 VOO on Robinhood. And at the time when I was getting into the crypto, my God, man, that crypto is volatile, but man, crypto is nice, man. The crypto money was good when it was popping. But yeah, so at the time that I really started like aggressively investing, I was living with, I had just moved out of Drew's house. Drew is my brother that lives in the Bronx. Okay. And he's in the financial space. And I would dollar cost average, where I would take the same amount of money and put it in a stock every week. At the time, I started reading these books and I started listening to Earn Your Leisure, and I would invest in whatever they would say invest in. Dude, I was putting it in like every week, and I ain't gonna lie, man, investing. So reading saved my life. Reading definitely got me to a level, but man, investing definitely got me to a space where like, I'm comfortable. Like I'm definitely not worried about where my next meal gonna come from. I'm definitely in a space where, I have some movement. We got mastery, movement, right, mating and materials, so I got some movement with that. So you asked me for advice. So cut the spending. You want to earn more, find a way to earn more. When you earn more, invest. Make investing and saving part of your financial infrastructure. Like that has to be a discipline, man. Like whatever you make, even during COVID, when I was only making like $10 off of selling products, I would put 10% into something, $1 out of $10. That shit, I don't mean to curse on her, but it adds up over time if you're putting it in the right place. And you got to be disciplined. When something goes wrong, your man get locked up, you don't go touch your stock money to bail him out. You know what I'm saying? When, emergencies may happen, and you can do it for that because that helps you earn more. But cut the spending, earn more, and make investing a part of your normal routine. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor, so, do your due diligence and do your research.
Yeah, do your research. But, it's something that you're into, something that you're very much interested in, because there's a lot of...
The greatest investment that you can make is in yourself. So you got all of this stuff here.
Yes, sir.
Invested in putting my product out, my IP, my intellectual property with my book and my music and stuff like that. So that was actually the first investment before the comic books.
That's the greatest investment, definitely. I always say that too. And also by saying the greatest investment, and I know you mentioned that you used to be growing up, you used to be a chubby kid.
Yes.
Right. But now look at you looking great. You've been in the gym. So let's talk about fitness itself. So invest in yourself. So like, how can you explain fitness to someone who is trying to get involved in fitness, and how did that help you in general?
Dude, it's there's a parallel between the spending and the nutrition and the activity. So like, when you asked me about investing, I said, cut the fat off, kill the foul whack spending, and spend money on what you need, right, and invest in things that can appreciate over time, that can bring you back more money. With fitness, you want to consume less calories than you burn. So if your calorie intake is 2,000 a day, you want to be burning Now, it is excessive to be trying to burn 3,000 calories a day, but you could burn a lot of calories by doing 1 or 2 workouts and going for a walk. You know, going for a walk saves you from doing something that is counterproductive to your life. You know, going to that party, like you're investing time and energy into yourself. You're investing attention into what you consume, learning new workouts, what it is that you do, and money, and putting the foods in you that fuel you and keep you living longer. Because if you want to be a high earner, you got to be active and energetic. You know, one of the reasons why I got longevity in this game is because, you know, I left the drinks and drugs alone. I left the processed food alone. You don't really see me eating fast food. You know, I might do Chick-fil-A every now and then. Definitely hit my ice cream.
Like a little emergency thing, you know.
100%, you know.
Sir, yeah.
But it's got to fit the macros. And I'm not in the financial space either, but I am qualified to talk about it because I work out every day. I don't miss any workouts. I definitely track my macros. I track my protein intake. I track my carbohydrates. And I track the sugar to a sense. You know, I try to keep my sugar intake under a certain level every day. Dude, see, fitness can become nuanced because everybody is different. Right. Everybody's, you know, metabolism is different. When you become older, it becomes a little bit more difficult to burn the fat and keep it off. So, you know, having a good nutritious diet, staying active, I think those are core pillars that one can take in living a good and fulfilling life.
Right. And in terms of like mental health, have that helped you?
Oh, dude, my daily routine is like, soon as I wake up, right now it's 5 a.m. Soon as I wake up, 5 a.m., you know, my first thing is hitting the gym. It's either prayer first, then gym, or gym, then prayer, depending on how the night was.
Right.
And that has like empowered me in a way where, like, you know, I bring that energy and momentum into my day. If I'm making a bunch of sales calls, or if I got to, you know, draw up some business model, or if I even got to go out there and meet people. Like in Austin, it's contact sport. I'm meeting a lot of people all the time. So I'm like, dude, this is like a business card for me. When I go somewhere fit, I look like a disciplined man before I even open my mouth, before I even say anything.
That's very, I think it also intimidates whoever that's coming across you. They'll look at you and say, oh, shoot. This man really got his life together, you know, when you're looking fit. And I've seen it. I've seen it myself because I work out a lot. And when I meet people, even though I'm very young compared to them, they would just look at me and say like, okay, hey, what's up, man? Like they will respect me because just looking fit, looking sharp, and also just being, because also fitness, like you said, it's very good for the mind because, I mean, your mind stays awake in most cases. You're not very much all just looking tired or looking drowsy or anything like that.
Are you in a relationship?
Right now, yeah.
Okay, great, great. So you're staying fit, you're staying active. I know that makes the bedroom fun even more enjoyable.
I mean, yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah, yes, sir.
What do you mean you heard about it, man? I know you're smoking the boots every day. What you talking about?
No, actually, I mean, it's a long distance.
Okay,
you know?
got you.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't live here. So when we see each other, we get to see each other, you know. But yes,
feel each other, too.
Yeah, man. I heard that it's really good for you, you know, like.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes you stronger in different ways, you know.
100%. So, I mean, I say all this to say, like, dude, we're on here talking about the real stuff that men really need to hear. Men need to be, I'm not saying they need to be bodybuilders, but need to be active, need to be able to run up a flight of stairs, need to be able to save your family if, you know, an intruder comes in, you know, need to be able to please your woman, need to be able to be educated, wise, and have some wisdom so that you can be a leader of your family, so that they're not amongst the youth that are getting lost out here. Right. And also, you know, you got the spirituality too. You got to have some type of definiteness of a worldly definiteness of purpose, but also a framework that you follow with your faith and your religion. You know, like, what else do we really need to be talking about besides that in this day and age? For real.
And exactly. That's why actually I told you earlier, remember when we even first started, it's like at first I used to just talk about nonsense, but then I realized that is not actually helping us grow. Like as we grow, as we see different things in life, I feel like you said, the conversation we must be having are this type of conversations because they help the next person. You know, the youth right now, they're not in the right direction. You know, most of the kids. So if we actually start talking about things like this almost either every day or just anywhere you go, at the barbershop, in the gym, one kid may say, you know what, I want to go that direction. Now you just save somebody from going a wrong direction, ending up either in jail, or just making the wrong decisions in life that they may regret later on. But yeah, so that's the most important thing. And I appreciate you for coming through because I had an amazing conversation with you, bro.
Dude, I appreciate you for having me, and I can't wait to return. And dude, there's a list of guests that I would love for you to sit and talk with, man. My boy G, who's got PHI Pro. He changed the acronym, so they do surveillance.
Okay.
Dude, he's an amazing guy that started a business and is thriving. I just spent some time with his family before I came here. You got my boy Coach Rome, who has a list of businesses and also the greatest Little League football team in the world. And then you also got my boy Scoop, who's building up Hoodlum World. I'm actually signed to his label. All my last 2 projects have come out on his label. And we hadn't even really talked extensively about my most recent releases, but I have to say this: everything that we've talked about during this time on the podcast, you'll find some type of variance of this in my music. So my music has definitely evolved from the Buffalo bully times and the bedroom bully times to the intelligent hoodlum times, and always been valid. And dude, I'm just so thankful for you having me on your platform and allowing me to sit down because, in a sense, I felt shadow banned in the city of Buffalo, sir. There's a lot of people that I feel don't want my voice to be heard, don't want me to say these things because they are empowered by forces that are misleading our youth. And I think in a sense they may be misled. So just because I'm not rocking the icy gold chains and pushing the Cullinan through here doesn't mean that I'm an unsuccessful man. You know, I'm working my way up the ranks and I'm doing my best with the resources that are available to me, with reading in the shop, being a leader by example, and helping people achieve their dreams, feed their family, all through Fade and Full Barbershop. And we are aggressively hiring right now, despite rising expenses and declining income with the Q4 that we're going into, with the emergence of salon suites and the competitive nature of the barbershop. So follow Glory. I don't mean to take over you.
Nah, bro. I mean, you're here for a reason. It's your time. You know, it's your time. I mean, I'm always here. I've been in so many videos, so I mean, go ahead. They have to go ahead and just follow you. And also, go ahead and purchase the book. Is it on like an Amazon?
Yes, the book is on Amazon for all to purchase. My music is on streaming for you to consume and listen to, add it to your playlist. The barbershop is at 1068 Elmwood in the heart of Elmwood Village. We're doing some real creative things with compensation now for barbers, leadership for barbers, and also keep an eye out for Kelly over there at Highlights. She's special.
She's doing an amazing thing.
She's doing her thing, man. And I'm definitely going to be pouring a lot of energy into her.
Amen to that, bro. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. I just want to say, guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, man. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video, and also just your Instagram. You forgot to mention.
Oh, real VALED on Instagram. I got 2 YouTubes, one for my music, one for the barbershop. I'm on TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can check me out in Austin, Texas, too. We're still working out the details of how I'm gonna be doing what I do there. And dude, I got an abundance of opportunities, man, in Austin, Texas. So I love Buffalo, born and raised here, but you know, we're going up levels. Yeah, man.
Different area codes, man. 716 to whatever area code they have.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, but thank you so much. And yeah, man, peace out. Let's go.